Hello, everyone. Welcome here. Today, we're going to play some Timberborn. If I remember correctly, last time we were working on getting the valley up above the main base area, all set up for farming. Which means we need to get access out here with a tubeway so we can have reasonable worker efficiency, and then we need to floor over those areas so we can build the worker housing. Let's see. We'll need to put in some temporary scaffolding to get that roof built. Yeah. Okay. Is there anything else that we were in the middle of working on? This is but a thin layer away from exposing the bad water source that's bubbling up over here. So if we blow this open, we need to put a bad water dome on it immediately. And then do something about our bad water collection. Move it somewhere, probably over to here. Then we can put it in, either just drain off the map here by dumping it into this, or by digging our own bad water drain, something tunnel to the map edge. Who knows? I'll have to think about it. Okay. We have hauler posts and builders' huts here to finish. Okay. The area here around the main base is getting cleaned up pretty hard, which is good. Because I might want to end up moving the district center to be somewhere else. There's no real reason to have it down here anymore. It's not really the center of the district. Although we are keeping the industry over here for now. So it's not the worst place to put it. As long as everywhere is close to a tubeway and then, yeah. Okay, so how are we doing underground with this tunnel? Okay. It'll take them a while to get there. Let's kick up into high speed and go for it. Oh yeah, that's right. We blew this hole here so we can get to that tubeway. Alright. Yeah, the other problem we hadn't solved yet was where the food storage is going to go. Like, we have these small food storages here. They're fine for quick local food access, but we need something that's not too far away where we can have proper large-scale food storage. And I'm not sure where. Right down here makes a certain amount of sense. If we can finally drain this underground area, then that would help a lot too. But for that, we need to get rid of this bad water source. Which is right close to where the mine is, actually. So we could tunnel a drain into the side of it over here and let it out down here for temporary while we put a... Basically, we dig a tunnel in on the low level. So, like here, maybe? No. It'd have to be higher. We have the tunnel into it right there. Blow it out. Let all this drain. Then we'd have to come at it from a couple levels up. And cap it. It wouldn't be that big of an engineering job, and it would probably be a lot easier and safer and quicker than the one over here. The one over here would be easier in some ways, actually. But this one we're actually using stuff from. Whereas this one we're not using stuff from it yet. Although this one would probably be a better one to actually put a pool on. And then we could hook some automation up to the Badwater Dome. Because if we go look at the Badwater Dome we have over here running our wheels. Oh, there's not an option. Oh wait, no, there is an option to automate it. Yeah, okay. So we can automate it. And that would allow us to keep a reservoir full to a certain level without draining. We can just build a reservoir right here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and delete these buildings now. Clean that junk up. Start cleaning up a lot of these abandoned roads. Okay. Don't need those anymore. Lovely. Greatly improving the situation around here. Okay, let's set these to max beaver. Those are basically overflows. This district has 124 extra beds, 37 extra jobs. So let's build at least 2 more advanced breeding pods. And that should get us more beavers. TM. Let's go ahead and make these top priority. Okay. They're not hauling the scrap away from there as fast as I'd like them to. Okay. That's fine. Those are fine. The reason we have so many injured beavers right now, I think, is because we're tearing out these thorns. Which, sure, whatever. Let's go ahead and bump the build priority on all this stuff underground. Okay. Should speed things up a little. Starting to get a pretty decent little network of subway tunnels for the beavers. Which is pretty ideal. And it looks like there's not too many complications at the altitude I chose to dig it at. So getting it at most places won't be any big deal. Ooh. Just gotta wait for them to build stuff. Come on, beavers, hurry up. Okay, there's a bunch of gears left in the rubble there. I think our gear storage is full. Which, okay, fine. Should I add another large water storage over here? Maybe. Yeah, okay. I kind of wish that the paths... It's like the path coloring is basically a measure of beaver walking distance from the district center. Which is why having the district center over here in the Ascend of Nowhere nowadays is less and less useful. Because with the district center being over here, there's nothing around here anymore. Except a little bit of farming. So we should move it closer where the actual center of the colony is. So you can get a better view of how far things actually are away from the center. Like really, technically, the center of the colony is here. The beaver housing. Also, it looks like they finished all the rooftop stuff here, so we can get rid of these stairs. And let's go ahead and add the rooftop terraces. Yeah, okay. Okay. Ugh. Bad tide. That's fine. We should have plenty of water stored. Okay. That can't backflow anyway, so that's fine. This honestly probably doesn't need to be set anyway, because once the bottom opens, like technically we could get this contaminated with bad tide the way things are set up, if for some reason the pressure in here is maintained, but this is going to be drained immediately at bad tide, so it doesn't really, like this doesn't need to be technically automated at all. And floodgates prevent backflow. It's not like, say, over here where we have the bad water could go either way. Over here it can only go through the upper channels if they're pressurized. And as soon as bad tide happens, they're going to be depressurized. I'm not even tired, I'm just yawning like crazy. We could tap into this pretty easily and put another two-way station on this side of the river over here. I don't think we really need to. We just need to re-establish this bridge. Okay. That's all getting close to done. Log storage is getting full. Log storage over here is still empty. I'm going to set these to obtain. So that way haulers will haul from this log storage, which I'm going to set to supply, which I did. Okay, good. Alright. These are also to obtain, right? Yeah, they are. Okay. We're running low on bad water, which I suppose is normal and expected. Stuff's not being hauled nearly as often as I'd like. That would definitely be improved a lot if we had more haulers. Okay, we have a bunch of them actually. Okay, those are gonna be farmhouses. And then if we plant crops, this is gonna be all canola. this is going to be all corn. It's going to be all eggplant. And this will be kohlrabi, I believe. Yep. Okay. This probably is not enough kohlrabi, because kohlrabi is not a very efficient crop. But we're not really intending to feed them a lot of kohlrabi anyway, just enough to keep them happy. It's more than enough. Okay. This looks a little bit contaminated, actually. So maybe I was wrong about it not being able to contaminate. The other water all looks nice and clean. Like this all looks clean. It's just the bit out here. So maybe it just... something happened and it flushed some out. That was stagnant. I don't know. That's definitely a little bit contaminated, though. Also, like, these are pouring a lot of water out into here. Look how fast it's draining. Where's it all going? It's not flowing anywhere. Right? Doesn't look like it's going anywhere. It is a fairly sizable body of water, so maybe it's just that consuming that much. Okay. Tube way. Make that top priority. That way we can get it built quickly. Blocked by bad water. Yeah, it's definitely contaminated. Weird. Well, we might have to put some extra restrictions on this one. I actually kind of... Okay, this is a good time to go do the changes I wanted to do to this anyway. I wanted to put a cap on this that I can control the water flow out of it. So, to that end... we do that. Fill valves. impermeable floor in front of the fill valves. Then behind the fill valves, we put platform. And we put impermeable floor on that platform. And the idea is water can flow up behind the fill valve, through the fill valve, and bubble up. And then we control these fill valves with a level sensor that we will put somewhere around here. Oh, let's see. Let's just stick it right there. Fill it to 0.8. Sure, why not? And then we do North Mountain Reservoir. Boom. Automate. North Mountain Reservoir. On. Unlimited. Off. Off. Should know it the other way around. Off. Unlimited. On. Stop. Oh, that's going to interfere with those stupid pumps. Because I all built them around that shaft on purpose. So they'd be able to reach way down and grab maximum water. Oops. Yeah. Okay, we can't do that. That would work great if it wasn't for the pumps right there. The alternative is to use fill valves at the bottom, and this will work just as well. The problem is beavers won't be able to get down here, I don't think. Oh, it says they can. Okay. I'll make that top priority then. Automate. North Mountain Reservoir. Okay. Now, we need to do something over here about this water. We could do a similar thing here. Okay, they claim they can build that. Not sure from where, but they claim they can build that. me think. We can build iron tooth airlocks to get them into these if we need to get them into here if we need to. And we will to finish this lower sensor. Let's see. Where would be a good spot to tap into? Because, yeah, I don't think they can actually reach these, despite them lying and saying they can. Which, okay, fine, whatever. We can fix this problem. So technically this is probably the most reachable line. So let's go ahead and plan this. I am afraid we're going to have to do it the super tedious way. Okay. And then in here, we'll put a two-way station. Which we can't actually build because it's too tall. So we'll have to build a too tall room there. Basically what we'll do is we'll blow this out. You get removed. Okay. Okay. This is gonna flood this temporarily, I think, but it'll unflood shortly after. Oh, wait. That's a problem. Okay. Here. Let's do this the right way. How tall is that pipe? That goes up a long ways. Okay, that's gonna be annoying to rebuild if I delete it. So those gotta go out. put in dynamite. Then once we blow this out, we dig a tunnel from here. Make it a proper 2-wide tunnel. That's the wrong height. There. And then vertical tubeway, standard tubeway, platform, path over the platform. Very high priority. This all gets high priority. Tubeway gets built on the inner side. Okay. All right, anyway. Now, why is this so... Oh, I know what the problem is. Okay. When the bad tide changed, there was still a bit of bad water in here, apparently. In the upper levels. Or at least above the... Anyway, it got purged up the system. And so we got a little slug of bad water flowing in through here. And that arrived over here. And that's why we're dumping bad water into here right now. Which is obviously not good. I am going to go ahead and demolish that. And I'm just going to let all this water flow out there for a bit. We'll purge the whole system. Okay, that's done. That's good. Let's increase the flow through there. Get it purged quickly. Yeah, because what we're working on now is going to solve that problem for good. Because we're going to set this to turn off when there's bad water available. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and do that right now. Primary water contamination. If it's on, no flow. If it's off, unlimited flow. That does mean that we will need to deal with overflows over here, which we can't already handle. Okay, overlook depth. These will be automated with that. If it's on, no flow, off, unlimited. Okay, we need to get down there to build that, but that's what we're working on right now. Access to build these floodgates. Oh, they did actually build these floodgates. Okay, I didn't think they'd be able to. So those are going to be controlled by the North Mountain Reservoir Control, which they're already set up for. I think we've mostly purged what little bits of bad water were in there. Yeah, maybe not. Let's keep flowing it for a while longer. Okay. I could put fill valves in here, and that would enable us to shut this on and off. I think that's what we're going to do. Eventually I might want to turn them around, though. I think I actually know. I might just put levies in there for now, because they're cheap. They're easy. And I might want to come back and put fill valves in there later. Okay, this looks like it's pretty clear now. There's a little bit of contamination over there, but it's not enough to matter for anything. So this is height hand cut. Yeah, okay. Okay. Those are built. They should start filling up again. Okay, they're complaining about water depth. That's fine and expected. Okay. Let's get those built right now, please. Alright, once that's done, this part's going to take a while, because we're going to have to babysit this part. Basically what's going to happen, actually wait, can we do this way? Yeah, I think we can. Okay. Yeah, we can. So, basically, the game doesn't tell you you can do this, but you can take an impermeable floor and you can separate bits of tubeway with it. And they will still function across the floor. So the tubeway goes through the impermeable floor. But water won't. So as long as you're moving from a different elevation, from one elevation to another, you can prevent water flow while still letting tubeways through. So there's no way to make a tubeway wall, but you can make like a U-bend and protect the bottom of the U-bend on one side, and that way you can get a tubeway through a wall that's holding back water. Which obviously is great. Because, well, that way you can get your beavers into places that are otherwise not necessarily inaccessible, but would be hard to access otherwise. Is this still flowing water into here? I thought it would have filled much faster than that. Okay. Okay. I guess this is a fairly sizable reservoir down here. Well, we're out of extract and we're out of bad water. We should probably add more bad water pumps up here. Yeah. Yeah, being out of extract's a bit of a problem. We are producing a decent amount of bad water, it's just not being... Okay, so this is finally full. Ish. Filling anyway. Okay. The mountaintop reservoir over here is not filling because we're not getting enough pressure. It's all flowing into here. That's going to be workable around. Oh, actually, wait a second. We got a bit of a problem here. We don't want to blow that one yet. Because we're going to have to get beavers into there on a temporary basis while we work on this. Yeah. We got to blow this one. Then we got to remove the scaffolding in that corner, put a temporary stair in. And then that can get us up to here. where we can then build these from below. So we're going to have to shut water off into this side in a bit. Because we're going to lose a lot of water out of this reservoir. Matter of fact, I'm going to go ahead and shut water off in there right now. Boom. Okay. Yeah. Because this has got to be blown. And then we need to build platforms in here. Blow those. Build the tubeway. Let's go ahead and unpause that. We're going to lose a ton of water, which sucks, but there's nothing we can do about it. We're going to flood this area out here pretty hard. Going to set these floodgates to 0.90. So hopefully that'll drain most of it out this way instead of flooding over here. Okay. Now. Well, farm crops are in. I did not place storages for these crops. I should probably do that somewhere, not too far away from tubeways. Maybe we should do it down here. Because if we do put in food factories, we're going to need work. Need some power shafts. I don't want them to have to go too far. Okay, let me think. This is center supported, or is it? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we could put some overhangs and then build on top of that. That would be the most space efficient way to get above our crops for storage. Ideally, we'd want to go probably out over top of the farmhouses. Then we would need to have like one space for the stairs going up. Yeah, we'll do like this. And then double platforms or single platforms. Single platforms is fine. Okay. The large storages are 3x3. Yeah, okay, that's perfect then. Hello, wormholer. Welcome here. Yeah, we're gonna need 2 squares. Okay. Put that in. And then like that. Straight stair. Then we'll have a path here, a curved stair leading up, and then to here. And then above this, we'll have our storages. Large warehouse there. I think we're going to do 2 of them. Which is perfect because 2 of them fits exactly above 3 farmhouses. Okay, and then you are raw corn, and you are raw eggplants, the 2 crops that are grown in this largely in this area. Okay, and then these will get roofs. I'd kind of like to do that, but overhang this way. Which we can't easily do because I don't have roof shapes that match what I want. At all. So we can do like that. But then we're definitely going to build temporary scaffolding up there to build. Well, we're going to do that anyway. We're going to build scaffolding up there to build them. Okay. Single platform, double platform. Boom, boom. That'll get them up there to be able to build these. This double platform will actually stay. Boom. Okay. That's relatively low priority. That's more of the next thing to do, TM. Okay, they have busted into this. That's fine, which means all this drained already and I missed it. Apparently it wasn't a big deal because there's not really, or weren't any issues. Okay. Let's go ahead and set that to top priority right now. Construction lacks materials. We're out of extract, of course. Okay. Let's go ahead and put in more bad water pumps. We need more bad water being made. Okay, that's all dynamited out now. Like, we are getting extract, we're just not getting it fast enough is the problem. Boom. Okay. All that away, please. And then... tubeway station. Top priority. I'm gonna go ahead and delete these stairs right now. Delete that path. That's tubeway. That's vertical tubeway. That's vertical tubeway, because I can build at the end of the tubeway. And then you get an impermeable floor right there. And that should prevent water from up here flooding down into this once it's built. That's all top priority. That's all top priority. That impermeable floor is definitely top priority. Once the impermeable floor is built, we can go ahead and reflood this. And the rest will just get built over time. All right. Come on, hurry your asses up. What are they building instead? Oh, these. And that's also important, to be clear. I should go ahead and put the scaffolding in. That should get him up there. Let's go check on this now. No? Come on, hurry up, build the damn thing. Alright, that should get us bad water for more extract. Should improve things considerably. We do have some extract stored around now, so it's not as big of a deal. Okay, does this have the impermeable barrier now? Yes, it does. Okay. Let us open these floodgates back up. This is controlled by water contamination, so when it's off, we want full flow. Comes the water. Looks like it's working. Not that I didn't think it would or anything, but... Alright, lovely. Now... Boom, two-way station built. Now, those stairs are extremely important, and these levees are extremely important. We finally have regular access to this tunnel without having to constantly break through one set of levees or another. It's like the water pumps are no longer touching the water, which, not too surprising. That'll fix itself in a bit. Okay, they are working on those levees. Good deal. That will solve that problem, hopefully, forever. Now, drought approaching. Well, that's not good. We need to get this filled up before then, hopefully. Okay. First levee's done. Second levee done long before the drought. That should improve the situation, because then we won't have to worry about any overflow over here. Not that we would likely have to anyway, but... yeah. We can cut this much closer than it used to be because we don't have to worry about pressure weirdness. Surprised this area down here is still even got any water in it. Most of this water is going to flow into there for a while until it's full. Hopefully by the time the drought arrives, we'll have it filled up. Mountaintop Reservoir is not going to be full for this drought, though. We've been pulling too much water off its normal filling mechanism. Which is unfortunate. We might need to route more pressure into this system. which we could do from here. By capping this hole. And then putting in a bypass here to let it into this. That would lead to more pressure over here and over here, though. We're losing a lot of water out here at the moment. Because normally that water bubbles up here, which is significantly lower. Actually. Okay. Hello, Carlo. Welcome here. They're working on the new storage. So while they do that, we should go ahead and start defining the new storage. Okay, that goes there, that goes there. That gets us neatly up top. All right, now over here. Okay. So that's like one tile short. So we only have 2 farmhouses underneath this one instead of 3, but that's fine. They're responsible for less land over here. And then we go ahead and pop a pair of large warehouses on top. Temporary stairs. We up top build roofs. All right. And then you will store canola seed. And you will store kohlrabi. Lovely. Now, next steps. Not having the reservoirs, not having the reservoir full is really going to be an issue. Oh well. Okay, so we need to cap this. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and blow off that corner. I don't think the 3x3 platform is permeable to water. But I don't remember if it is or not. Because this would be perfect, the metal 3x3. It costs 30 metal blocks though, which is way more expensive than just using triple platforms. So we're not doing that. Okay. And then fill valves across the middle. We need to get beavers down into here to work on this. Boom. Put in that as a temporary way to get down in there. I believe this is the farming district, yeah. So these guys aren't terribly busy as far as construction jobs. Or they should be anyway. Okay, they did start coming over here to work on these now. No? Or is the lazy asshole? Okay, he did go get some planks. And then we're going to need a automation sensor for depth over here. Getting a levee there. And I think we're just going to put some standard floodgates across the mouth. And set them to like 0.9 or something. And then set the depth sensor to like 0.8. Rename it. That'll work. I have somewhat arbitrarily decided that that side of the map is north. Okay, so when that gets capped and depressurized, the next thing we need to do is cap and depressurize this. And that is going to be a much more interesting prospect. Yeah. We could floor quite a lot of it with a 5x5 metal platform. These stairs are going to be an issue. We'll probably have to delete those. And we don't have a tubeway in this area yet, so we can't really hook a tubeway into the bottom of it. Which is bad, because we do need access to down here regularly. So I think we are going to want to put a tubeway in. So let's start building the tubeway first. I want more tubeways over here. This is going to be an interesting build, for sure. So I think we're going to put the tubeway on here. And then what we're going to do here, so we're going to put an overhang here. We're going to put overhangs along there. We can build the tubeway on top of that. And then to get over to here, because I don't want to disrupt any of the farming area if I can avoid it. That is one tile short of where I'd ideally like it to be. One tile. Okay, so we can't build this through the tubeway. But we can do that, and then we put the permeable floor there. So that's covered. Then we just need to put in like that. Boom. Something like that will do the job then. Yeah, let me just delete the staircase, put the last one of those in, and cover the whole thing with impermeable floor. Like so. Okay. And then you get vertical tubeway to there. Then we'll run tubeway across. We will have to put in a platform over here. Oh no, we're gonna lose a single tile of canola. What will we ever do? Okay. We still have this... We can't get around that corner. Like that. But that's a solvable problem. Namely, we just have to put in one more platform. Which requires one more tile of canola to go away. Oh no, we're going to lose 2 whole tiles of canola. What will we ever do? Wait, no we don't. I forgot. We can route tubeway through other buildings. Yeah. So as long as it's touching this hauling post, we'll have tubeway over here. Okay, that's huge. You can? Yeah. See, look how the tubeway is connected to the building here. It's the same way as how you can route power lines through other buildings. Like if you go find power shaft, see how those buildings all highlight? Those are powered buildings, sure. But if we come over here, well, let's find a, there. See how it connects to the side of the building? Then if you grab a tubeway, well, depends on the building, I guess. Actually, maybe it won't work. I thought you could some buildings. Let me double check. Okay, that highlights when you place beside it. Yep. Okay, see how the building highlights when you touch it? Means it's connected. Okay, let's check. Okay. You definitely can connect tubeway buildings to other buildings. Actually, wait, maybe the highlighting is because of the power connecting through. Well, we'll find out in a second if it works or not. If it doesn't work, then I'm be sad, but I think it does. There's a chance it doesn't. I'm assuming it does because power does, but now that it might not actually work. If it doesn't work, then oh well, we remove a second tile of canola and we just go around the corner. And I will put in a 3 long just in case. That's going to annoy the hell out of me if it doesn't work though. Because then we'll have a bit of, well, we can put something decorative hanging out over there and beavers will enjoy that. Okay, this is ready to blow. It looks like this all down here has been built, except that bit that's underneath the tile. That's fine. Okay. Let's put on single tall platforms and impermeable floor. This is something I learned recently. Instead of picking the thing from the list, you can just click on it. And it selects it automatically. Which is cool, I guess. Alright, off, unlimited flow, on, no flow. That should allow water to bubble up here and fill this, but no higher. Once they finish building that corner. Alright, these are ready to go. Let's take... Let's just do 3 long all the way across. That would look nice and even. Tubeway station. I'm going to recess the tubeway station off the edge all the way. So there's no just unusable space hanging out back there. And that way, if it does turn out that we can't actually connect to this, then we can just build a tile there and it'll connect right away. And we'll have space out front here. We can put some decorative bullshit if we want. Okay, that's top priority. Boom. Get that built right now, please. Same with this. And that. Because the sooner we can get this built and connected up, the sooner we can get rid of those stairs. And the sooner we can get this floor built in here. Like to put barrels of coffee next to your two-way stations to fit in thematically. I haven't started producing coffee yet. I really should. I produced coffee before in previous settlements, so I'm not... Yeah, I just haven't got around to this one. Okay. Building is connected to district center by paths. Yeah, I know that. There's a stuck beaver right there, because he isn't very smart, apparently. Let's go ahead and remove that. Boom. I think they should be able to stay on top of the stairs and build that, but I'm not actually sure. Looks like they can. Okay, you're not going to die instantly. Yeah. This will be built shortly, and then I can delete the stairs and let him out. You're only 2 stories up, buddy. I mean, sure, it's a long ways off the ground, but also you can kind of, rather than starve to death, you could like hang and swing and drop down on this level and then do the same drop down another level. Oh well, you won't have to because we're going to let him loose right there. Now instead of sitting there, go get some food. Alright. That's done. Got a good amount of corn stored up already. And then they should start hauling eggplants out of the farmhouse up there as well. And then when these get built, they can haul canola over there. Alright, we still need to build processing plants for all of this stuff. But we don't actually need the food for it, so I'm not too worried. Did this get built yet? No. They're not prioritizing it anymore because they're working on this, which is a good call. Alright, we do have bad water in the tank. We are still low on extract. We might have to set up a second extract plant. We have been using a bunch of extract lately. Okay. Okay. We don't have planks in the district? Where's the plank storage? The log storage is full. I thought I had a plank storage over here somewhere underneath these houses. I guess not. Kohlrabi storage is empty. That's... I think there used to be a plank storage up here and I deleted it to make room for houses. Which might explain why they don't seem to have very many planks in stock. Oh, planks are over here. No, wait, that's for the other district. Okay. So I guess I'm just storing planks in District Crossing. That's a decision, for sure. Okay. Yeah, we're actually low on planks here at the main district. Well, there's an easy way to solve that problem. We just go visit the plank bank and make a withdrawal. Can we even get beavers over there normally? Kinda. Okay. Got plenty of stored water. Things are drying up, which isn't good, but the reason for that is because we never did fill the reservoir during the good season. Alright. I think most of our planks went straight into these storages. Yeah. Large warehouses take a lot of planks. And I don't have nearly enough plank production. Like my industrial sector is just completely pitiful. Our industrial sector is a disgrace to beaver kind. Which I should have fixed a long time ago and just haven't for some reason. But oh well. That's probably next on the list after we get the new foods rolling. Looks like a Folktales production center. Yeah. Yeah, we've got lots of farms and not very much industry. Where it really should be the absolute reverse of that. On the plus side, this is going to be more or less the extent of the farms, I think. Between this area and this area, we have plenty of farms. And so I'll probably cut it off at that. You know, with tubeways, I might just remove the living quarters over here and connect the districts together. It still is kind of far over to here to get to these farms, though. Leave it alone for now. But it's something we could do if we wanted to, I suppose. Okay. Boom. Now. Still haven't done that yet. So this is still going to overflow. Right now it's oscillating wildly. Okay, did they clean up most of this mess? Most of it. Okay. Yeah, we still have tons of planks we can recover, like over here. It's a bunch yet. Yeah, not really tons, but decent amount. Alright, now. Did they finish this? They are one last tubeway piece away from finding out if this is going to work or not. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Okay. And it looks kind of like it doesn't. Let me confirm. So I think this number here beside it, distance to district center, yeah. So if we click on this tubeway, it says 12. Click on this tube, it says 45. So they're not connected. Despite the fact that they highlight when you place them together, which I guess, yeah, okay, that I guess makes sense. Damn. I really thought that they connected together. I guess now we know they don't. Well, that's unfortunate, but I can live with that, I guess. Alright, so once that's built, we'll be able to get down there without having to fuss with any of this. That's impermeable floored already, hell yeah. They're starting to build the floor in here. Which is going to result in a lot of platforms down there, but all the platforms that support these stairs can go as soon as this is built. I'm going to go ahead and set this to high priority so that gets built. And we can stop losing water out that gate. Wait, is this contaminated again? Where is that coming from? There's nowhere bad water can get into here. Or here. There must be just still residual contamination left over from... That wasn't ever flushed out all the way. Like, it's not very contaminated. It's just weird. It's contaminated enough that I wish I'd put a drain over there now, though. Okay, this is hooked up. 12, 13, 13, 14. Okay, that's all hooked up. Good. There is a way you can see what the contamination percent is, but you have to build a stream gauge and... Yeah. Clean up that mess, please. It's got valuable resources in it. And then over here, we'll put that in place. And impermeable flora, except I don't actually... I forgot a step here. I want to build... Okay. Now. Let me think. For this, we want to put fill valves here. And then we put levees there. I think that's all we need to do then. Because yeah, then pressurized water can bubble up into here through these two tiles. Which, sure, it's only two tiles, but like this is not a main water exit, or at least not going to be anymore. Because then this water is going to get forced through here into this area. Which is why these levees are going to go. We might end up getting water bubbling out over there, which we'll have to go deal with if it happens. Okay, let's let all this get built first, and then we'll put the bypass down here. Where even did they hide the stream gauge? I don't remember where it got moved to. Oh, it's over here in decoration. An old-fashioned way to measure water depth, flow, and contamination. Ah. I remember when these were the only way to measure water. Now, back in my day... we had to go uphill both ways to get to school. Against the wind. Like, this is a really high concentration of bad water. Where is it coming from? This is all good quality. And then it gets over here and just like magically turns into bad water or something. It's not coming from above. It's not coming from below. Like, it's not clearing up is the weird thing. I'm tempted just to open these floodgates all the way and let it flow out. That would contaminate this reservoir, but like... We have water, fresh water, bubbling out of there consistently. It is, like, does look like it's slowly clearing up down here. Contamination's high enough those buildings are off. Okay, so this is getting done. Okay, that's no longer bubbling out. It is still flowing out. Oh, I see what the problem is. I forgot a step. There we go. Gotta seal that side too. Did I forget to do that over here? Yes, I did. Boom. Okay, once that's sealed, it should be under control then. Yep. Shuts it off. Stop flowing out that way. We have a lovely little pool up here that is unimportant to anyone. Okay, problem solved. Now, this over here is flooding a little bit because we're restricting the water flow through here and... yeah. Do I have a sensor on this reservoir somewhere? Yes, over here. Seep Reservoir. Well, it's not really the Seep Reservoir anymore, but it is sort of. Okay, you automate. Seep Reservoir. Off, unlimited, on, shut off. Yeah, look at all the water welling up right there. Okay, come on, you can stop flooding now, okay? Seep reservoir is set to fill to a height of 0.85. Maybe I should have put in flow valves. I think we're going to need another sensor for this specific area. Let's put in a fluid sensor right here. Yeah, let's just do it right out here in the middle. And then we'll put depth sensor. Boom. This one. Is the District 2 pond. Depth. And its threshold will be 1.5. One off. Okay, on. Boom. District 2 pond depth. Yeah. We'll turn both sides off for now so it doesn't flood everything. Alright, so now we got the water pressure relief over here is running. Which I think we could seal that. And then this tube would be permanently under pressure with nowhere for the water to go. But I'm not going to do that yet. What we are going to do is delete these three. And then we're going to put in fill valves facing that away. And these are just going to be left on limited flow. The only reason for the fill valves here instead of just leaving this open is because in bad tide they'll keep it from backflowing. Because we don't want to backflow during bad tide. For reasons that should be obvious. Oh, they can't. I built it 2 blocks tall because it's out of the water, of course. And they can't reach it. Because I'm smart. Let's give them a temporary scaffolding to get up there so they can build it. Now. These are being built. Should be done any minute now. So I'm not sure if this can actually handle the full flow of all the water in the settlement. But I guess we'll find out. But this is not filling, and that concerns me. Because it really should be. Okay, those stairs can go. This is sealed until the reservoir gets low, then it will let water bubble out. Which realistically means that will never flow unless we have serious problems elsewhere. It's kind of a backup way to keep red water in this reservoir. Okay, this is starting to fill actually, so that's good. It's a good sign. All right. We got to get over here and get that waterfall sealed because we've got a lot of water flowing out there. Water that we should not be losing. I'm tempted to suspension bridge my ass across the valley. I think that's too far forward. Oh wow, both of those are too far forward. Didn't expect that, honestly. We will need to get over there to that pylon to build it from the other side. Actually. I think we can just do the same size all the way across. Okay. Wait, what am I doing? That should be correct. Boom. Okay, that looked much nicer. Now, do I just block that? I don't think so. I'm going to put in throttling valves. Set to 0. Okay, we need to get over here to build those from below. Which is unfortunate for me. That should take care of that, and that'll get us all the way across. Alright. And then that should plug that off, and we should stop losing water out that direction. Soon, TM. And that will let the main reservoir over here fill, because... yeah. We could... seal this valley here. And use this as a big old reservoir. Yeah, I don't think that's a good idea. Not right now. Maybe later. Okay. Oh, I never did finish removing that. Okay. New kohlrabi storage. These should all be set to provide. There. We are losing a ton of water through that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and put in a bad water pump over here, I think. Just an effort to clean some of this up. Like, the water over here is getting progressively cleaner over time as it evaporates, but if you can suck a little bit of bad water out of it, I totally will. It's probably mostly ineffective, just because of how spread out it is, but doesn't hurt to try. Alright, so while that district is busy with their water preservation techniques, we should start working on this district's food processing. Now, to do that, we're going to need the food factory. We're going to need at least 2 of these. Put them in like that. You are going to make corn rations, and you are going to make eggplant rations. The eggplant rations require oil, if I remember correctly. So we need to put in at least 1 oil press. Let's see. Where do I want to put this? No, not there. That was misclick. I don't want to put these here either. Not quite. I think what I want to do is I want to run a path back through there. And then we need to get power across this other side in a more sane manner. Like, this is quick and dirty and easy, but I want something better. We can't run it upstairs on these because they're too short. Like this one, we could run our power out of that end wall, I think. No, we couldn't because it's in the middle. But it wouldn't matter anyway. All right, I want a oil press right there, like that. And then I want food factories. 1. No. Food factories 1 and 2 like that. And then we'll put in Large warehouse. Okay, so we want a warehouse for both finished products and all the raw ingredients. So we'll put in a medium oil tank. Back here. And then you will process the eggplant rations. There's a lot of large warehouses are going to be jammed in here to make this work. All right. So let's have path through there, like so. Except, because I don't feel like digging trenches to run the power through, we will be building overpasses for foot traffic. Okay, we can't run power between those two parts of the building right there, which is unfortunate, but not entirely unexpected. That gets like that. That goes there. Those get removed. Then we can fit another like 1 or 2 buildings in here. That gets removed. That goes there. Boom. Don't forget to put the path on top. Power shaft underneath. Boom. Okay, so we can run power shaft to there, but then we have the little issue that this is still not connected up. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to do the slightly expensive option. We're going to bomb that out. Then we're going to put power shaft basically into there. Okay, now while they work on all that, we need to work on the staircase that's going to go in here. Here comes the bad tide. Okay, those two are on the same height, actually. For some reason I thought they were one higher. Okay, that's actually awesome. That works out beautifully. Because then we can use the good old traditional standard staircase here. Lovely. Alright. You are canola oil. You want to obtain. You will be canola seeds, and you want to obtain as well. You will be corn. Obtain. You will be eggplant. Obtain. You will be corn rations. Supply. And you will be eggplant rations. Supply. Actually, I want to reorganize this. Eggplants go underneath eggplant rations. Corn goes underneath corn rations. Canola goes down here in the odd one out spot in the bottom. Obtain, 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 supply, supply. Okay. Now, your corn rations, your eggplant rations. Beautiful. Beautiful. Build that power, please. And the rest of that stuff, too. Okay. So that should significantly improve / change. Yeah. Okay. How's water going? What do you mean it's too far from the district center? There's path right here beside it. Okay, fine. Now there's path underneath it. Oh, I didn't connect this up to the path. Well, there. Now get your ass over there and fix that right away, right now. Fixing these water problems is our biggest possible, most important thing you could be doing right now. Okay. Power's online. We're producing corn rations. Also producing eggplant rations. Currently there's no place to store them anywhere close to anybody, so they gotta go over there to grab them, which isn't ideal for sure. Which means we need to start focusing on getting the food storage in this area, where we're gonna end up putting it. Built. We should add a couple more small warehouses to this setup. Also, I really should have dynamited this lip off and put overhangs on for it instead. Yeah. Wouldn't actually have been that useful. Alright, you will hold corn rations, obtain, prioritized by haulers, and you, with the same settings, will hold eggplant rations. And in keeping with the theme, you get little roofs. Alright. That should give everybody all the available food sources right there in a little group. This is all running beautifully. Canola oil's being stored. These warehouses aren't hooked up to anything because... sucks to be me, I guess. They're finally starting to build the bridges across, which is very good. We may be having a plank shortage. This thing is sucking some bad water out of the system, so that's good. All right. Once they finish the stairwell and stuff over here, which I'm going to go ahead and delete those two that I just built. And I'm going to build a duplicate of that lumber mill. Because we absolutely must have more plank production. It is a hard requirement. Gears, yeah, gears are important. But we don't use that many of them most of the time. Planks. Planks are becoming a problem. All right. Yeah, once we get these warehouses hooked up so they can start storing in them, which it looks like they're almost done with. They just have this last bit of stairs. There we go. Now they can start storing corn rations up here. That's gonna hold a lot of food. Where's the nearest tubeway? Over there. Okay. Because of the way the stairs worked out, they can just take this path straight over from the tubeway. Go upstairs, grab the stuff, go back to the tubeway. Okay. Won't be that far for haulers to go back and forth between. Alrighty. Wait a second. No, it's just holes. Okay. For a second there I was like, oh no, did I somehow puncture a hole through here into the bad water, just blow it. But no, I didn't. It's just, the bad water's close to the surface right here. And it's creating a problem. During the bad tide specifically, it's going to kill our trees. I believe during normal conditions we weren't having problems with that. Alright. Alright. Looks like we finally got rid of most of the thorns over here. Hell yeah. Okay. How are we doing on log storage? We actually could use some more logs. This is a good opportunity to get rid of all these oaks down here that we don't need anymore. The oak plantation up here is actually not sufficient to our needs. That is good to know. We will likely want to spread it at least a little bit to the other side of the river then. Well, we need to get rid of this tubeway is what we need to do. Once that tubeway's gone, we'll get a little bit of space over here we can use. We'll use a little bit of this side of the river. And to get rid of that tubeway, we need to cut that tunnel over here. And over to underneath this, and then we can... Or maybe farther over underneath this somewhere. And then sink a vertical shaft. I think we're better off continuing that direction a little ways and then angle it over. And the thing is, I don't even really know if I want to keep this tubeway up here. Because it doesn't provide anything except access to these deep bad water pumps. And I don't really want to keep my bad water supply up here. I want to move it. Specifically, I want to move it over to here. So... it would make a lot of sense for me to continue this tunnel over to here somewhere. Like over to here. And then put the tubeway station here and build a little bad water collection enclave right in this area. So I think that's the plan. Okay, there's nothing below the tunnel that'd be a problem. There's nothing above the tunnel that'd be a problem. We can just go straight there. Okay. The tubeway's on the inner edge, so it'll be in this back corner. Boom. 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 Okay. Then I'm going to recess it into the wall a little bit. Okay. Let's go ahead and reclaim let's more carefully reclaim the planks through there. Okay. Let's order those planks hauled away. That'll give them the planks they need to build that. No, I never did finish these levees. Let me think. That should do it. Now, is there any temporary scaffolding I built somewhere that I could remove? Because I do remember building some temporary scaffolding here and there. For like roof purposes and such like. And I thought I removed most of it. Okay, there's the scaffolding over here. That can go. Was there anything else? The temporary scaffolding on those two is long gone. Why do I still have a lumberjack flag out here? Go away. Okay. The good news is they're building the throttling valves here. So hopefully the next wet season we won't have to worry about that wasting all of our water. Instead we can have high pressure back at the main areas. Looks like they're getting rid of these trees we don't want here anymore. That's good. Okay, we're definitely short on canola oil, which means we should probably get rid of this medium tank and move it, and then put a second oil press in here. So let's remove that. Second oil press goes there. Please build that quickly. And then over here, we will continue the staircase up into the level. And then on top of this, we're going to put a large tank of canola oil on one side. And the other side to be left for future needs. Yeah. So this produces one every 1.3 hours. This consumes one every 0.5 hours. So technically we need a third oil press yet, just to keep up with a single food factory. I see. We can do that. Okay, first of all, that shafting, no longer needed. This frees up more space that we can use to get at things. Boom. There we go. Now, we can put more industrial buildings back here. Once they build this shaft, which... Get your ass over here and build that right now. Okay, that turns the power back on. We should build that fairly quickly. Alright, how goes the ceiling over there? Okay, this is all sealed. It is set to 0, it is set to 0. Okay, good. So we will no longer have water flowing out of there unnecessarily. Well, we can turn it on if we want water running through there for some reason. I suppose I could use it as an overflow or something if I felt like it. But over here is the better overflow for sure. Anyway, we have half a day to the end of the bad tide. Alright, how are things doing in the new tunnel works? They are going. Slowly, but going. Looks like they cleaned up all the plank mess. So that's good. We're still short on extract, which really tells me that we need more centrifuges. I don't like the setup over here, so I might just delete all that and redo it. Alright. Let's move the explosives factory. We're going to put it here. And then we'll run this path there. And then we're going to put in 2 more planks and 1 more gear factory right along there. Okay. Delete that. And we go ahead and put in a power shaft. And we set all this to top priority. Set all that to top priority. Okay. We'll leave those wheels... No, we're not. Yes, we are. Yeah, we're going to leave those wheels for now. Because they're already built and they're a way to get power over the other side. I'm going to demolish these 2 buildings. We're going to build a copy of the centrifuge. And put it there. And then we'll put a power shaft right there. Alright, getting all this mechanical stuff built, top priority, because we need that extract working. And we can't have it working if we don't have all these buildings built. Okay. I think we need to go ahead and put in a small warehouse for metal parts. So they'll clean them up off the ground and use them. No, they actually appear to be doing that on their own, so okay, good. It won't hurt to have a small warehouse for metal parts anyway, though. Oh, they did clear that pile up. I was worried they wouldn't be able to reach it. Okay. Well, we just need a few more metal parts, and we can finish the explosive factory. And then that'll hook power back up to the centrifuges, and all will be right in the world. The raw food storages are pretty full, except the corn one, which... Okay. Cornfield's not that large, so I'm not too terribly surprised. Same over here, the corn one's not that full. Corn rations are pretty full, though. Eggplant rations are pretty full. They just finished the canola tank, which is good. Set that to obtain, even though it's probably the only one in the whole area. Actually, we'll just leave it at accept. Because oil's produced down here. Used right here. Recipe explosives. Okay, there we go. We've doubled our extract production. Hopefully that's plenty. It should be plenty. These are still contaminated? Thought that water looked pretty blue. Where is all the bad water coming from? Like there's some contamination here. That should have never got contaminated. It's hooked up to fancy automated systems to prevent that from happening. Like, why is this contaminated? Where did that come from? It had to have come from over here. I guess I should have been watching the end of the bad tide because this shouldn't have switched over until there was no contamination. Maybe I need to move the sensor so it's more toward this gate. Like, that's a lot of more contamination than... I'm not sure what the actual percentage is. Okay, where is the sensor in here? It's right here. Directly over top of the... Oh, I know what the problem is. At least what part of the problem is. It's switching too early is what it is. And then the relatively small slug of bad tide that's right in here is just getting stuck. Oh. Well, here's another problem. This is the real problem. It's like, I couldn't figure out what was going on there, because there's no way the little tiny bit of bad tide that's in this area, if it flips, even if it flipped instantly, the little tiny bit here, there's no way that would make all that huge red area. Okay, what happened is, I forgot that this was too high when I deleted the wall here and put in fill valves. That wall was 2 blocks tall. I didn't put the second block on top. So it filled a large chunk of this area with pure contaminated bad water. Oops. So now we have to flood all of that out. And inconveniently for me, it's all flooding out into here. Okay. Thankfully, it looks like it's diluted enough now that it's no longer a problem, but... Right after the bad tide swapped, we had a lot of very nasty water. We still have a bunch of nasty water in here. But, like, it should dribble out slowly enough that contamination shouldn't be a big deal. I would like to flush it all, though. There's not really a good way to do so except to open this. Yeah, sure, let's do that. Let's flush the system as much as we can. Get all the goop out. Got all the nasty shit over here. This is contaminated a little bit. I think since it's right after the bad tide, I'm going to go ahead and open these floodgates all the way and drain the whole reservoir. Okay, these are 0.8. Yeah, look at this. This is way better looking now. Let's go ahead and close this. And that should flush this all out, which this was never very contaminated to start with. So that should all refill nicely. This is all completely flushed. Actually, let's leave it down so that as this flushes out, it'll clear up. This is refilling slowly. Look at all this nasty crap in there. We'll have to drain that out next. This is overfilling. Let's leave that set to 0.65. That way that shouldn't happen anymore. Okay. That's fine, TM. Okay. The upper reservoir over here is filling, which means this should have filled a while ago, but oh well. Like this is not filling. Oh, they're all both set to off, that's why. Now it's filling, okay. Well, goodbye most of our soybeans that all died. I should put floodgates out here again. Or rather in here. Okay, so let's go ahead and close these gates back up. Fill the outer reservoir again. Should happen fairly quickly. Those are set correctly, yes, 0.8. Good deal. Upper reservoir is full. Okay. We got some contaminated beavers over here, which, okay. This is still filling. Okay. This is barely removing any bad water anymore. I'm going to leave it for a little bit longer, but it really needs to go now. This is mostly diluted at this point. So it's cleared up considerably. Okay. I think we've cleared up most of our water at this point. This down here is still not ideal, but with evaporation and a little bit of pumping, it'll clear out in no time. Meanwhile, the food warehouses are completely full, basically. So, I will declare that a victory. We should import some over here. I'm going to change this from berries to corn rations. We are raising local kohlrabi. So we will leave this set to store kohlrabi. Now let's take a medium warehouse and put it there and set this to store eggplant rations. Boom. And boom. Let's give it a nice little roof. Okay. Let's go ahead and import eggplant rations and corn rations. Okay. Lovely. Now, that should be everything we might want to import. Did I ever build decontamination pods anywhere? I don't think so. Do I have a decent space that I can build decontamination pods in? Not really. They need mechanical power. So they kind of need to be over here somewhere. Let's invert that corner. Set that to highest priority. Boom. Build 3 decontamination pods in there. Build 2 decontamination pods in there. Because we don't want interference with the road right there. Those two need to stay separate. Alright, now we want to build some of these over in our little hospital area. Except you don't have mechanical power there, so we won't be building them over in our little hospital area. Instead, we'll be putting them... we're putting them here on top of the berry storage, I think. I should take care of that. Well, bad water contamination's getting into this again. Alright. Fine. Let's remove that. Let's put in throttling valves. Set to unlimited flow for now. Yeah. Let's just wash all this crud out of here. Why are we overtopping? Oh, this was set to 2.9, wasn't it? Because we do have some overflow over here. Because I remember now, this river, yeah, this river flows all the time. All right, I'm not a complete idiot sometimes, just most of the time. Okay. Could have sworn we had all this cleared out already, but apparently not. The one thing that floodgates have over fill valves is that you can just open the floodgates all the way and the water would just pour out. So if you actually want to drain something in a hurry, nothing beats a floodgate. But fill valves are so much more configurable. And you can put them under any height of dam and yeah. Okay. I think I'm just going to let this run for the entire good season and we'll just let this all clear up. No half measures. Get it properly cleared. Yeah. Okay, the upper reservoir is full. How did this tunnel over here get on when we were busy? They made it as far as they could with the current path and stopped. Well, clearly I should have been paying more attention to it because they had a bunch of time to work on that we wasted. I want to cap this bad water source next. So, let's start putting in tunnel over here. That's the drain. Build levee along here. We can just let it drain into here and off the map edge. Boom, that gets us on top of the levee. That gets us over to the levee. That gets us over to the other side of the levee. That's not going to matter right now, but it might later. Then we'll dig out that tunnel. Okay. Next thing's next. We're gonna go up a level here. And into the wall right there. looks about right. Okay. Underneath this should be a solid level of dirt and then a bad water source. So we can like dynamite a hole in the ground right there and get to where we're going. Okay. That should do it. Once we get the beavers over here to build all that. And then we need to blow out this end piece. Which technically you can press that up to do it from above. But I don't think I'm going to. A little bit of bad water never hurt anybody. Thank you very much for the follow, 47MD. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, speaking of bad water that never hurt anybody, it looks like this area is pretty much flushed out. Okay. So let's start pulling back the flow rate. By a whole lot. I kind of want to shut the flow off completely, but also this bad water pump can go. It's no longer doing anything useful. Bad tide. Alright, let's shut the flow off at the end. And it looks like all is well in Beaverland as far as such things go now. We still don't have any bad water in the bad water tank here. Looks like it's all been turned into extract. That's fine. Let's get rid of these. A couple of those anyway. I don't want any oaks down here, and those will end up growing up and then spreading, so let's get rid of them. And then you can go as well, actually. Now, let's go ahead and clear out these stumps. And that's much nicer. Okay. Lovely. There goes the tunnel. Let's go ahead and add to that. Yeah, it takes them quite a while to get all the way out to the tunnel there. It probably wouldn't hurt to have some closer tubeway stations that we could actually get into the tunnel from. So maybe we should design an exit over on this end instead of just having it dead end. Okay. We'd have to put in a spiral staircase to get out, which it's not a big deal. We can do that. I think I'd want to do it from the outside though, because then we could use dynamite, which would be way faster. We still would need some tunneling. Alright, so I want that down a level. And then you down a level. Except no. Well, we need to designate from the bottom up. Because it needs to come off there. Basically go from here up a level. So on top of this, that needs to be dug out. That needs to be dug out. So we have air above the stairway. And then from here, we either curve up to here. No. So that's, and that are the next ones. And then that and that. And it comes out right here. Okay. All right, that'll work. And then we will rework this in a bit so that we can blow that open and get to that bad tide or bad water source as well. And once we have domes on both of those, it'll be most of the bad water sources on the map sealed or sealable or otherwise tamed. And then we just have to worry about bad tides, which we have one in 0.7 days. I think there might be another bad water source somewhere. I don't remember where, though. In any case, it's not a huge worry. Yeah. Okay. Lovely. Now. Are we really keeping 4 bad water pumps running full time just to supply? Okay, how much do these things consume? 4 every 0.75 hours. These produce 1 every 0.33. Okay, actually, I can totally see how we could be using that much bad water. Just keeping our centrifuges is probably more than those can supply. And we do have an explosives factory as well. Although it's not producing that many explosives, really. Okay. Alright, this time when the bad tide hits, I want to be looking at our main water junction here to see how it reacts. Boom. Switch over was immediate. I need to automate you. I forgot to do that. Boom. On. 0 flow. We don't want to drain our water out of here when it's just dumping. Okay, and you're set up same way. You're set up same way, okay. Yeah. All right. No contamination, but I didn't really expect there to be any. Like, this hasn't even reached down here yet. I expect the problem we will experience at the end of the bad tide. If we have any contamination at all, that's when it will happen. But I don't think there will be any. Or at least very little. I think our entire problem was just that missing wall over here last time. But in 6.4 days, we'll confirm that one way or the other. Flow through here is very slow. I think we could get way more water out of this than we are currently. It's just due to the way we're pressurizing so much stuff, and it's greatly limiting our possible flow. We'd be better off if we got it underground and floated over the ground faster, earlier, or at least dug wider underground passages. Yeah, it's taking a long time for the contamination to get over here. Usually it's way faster. Like, it used to bubble up right over here, which was much closer, much higher flow. And now, since it goes through the junction... Actually, now since it goes through the junction, where is water even coming out over here? Nowhere. How's the game handle water loss, evaporation, or ground seep? I believe... I'm not 100% sure, but I believe it's just a certain amount of loss per surface volume? Or is it... it's either that, or it's just straight up a certain amount of loss per edge that's not touching other water, basically. So a small pool will have more other water adjacent edges and will therefore evaporate much faster. Because I do know it seeps into the ground. Like if you have a fully enclosed block of water, it will seep away. But I believe it treats air and dirt the same for the calculations, but I'm not actually 100% sure of that. There's probably some place that would have that information. I'm not sure if the game wiki does or not. But yeah, there is definitely some mechanism that applies underground as well. So having huge reservoirs underground, you will eventually lose water. And that is part of what is making this flow out here. Because as I realized, I no longer have an outflow from that. Since we were routing it all through the center over here. So this is going to be interesting. I could open this up and just manually start flowing it, and that would make it go much faster. But I'm curious to see how it acts when... like, there is still some water flowing, obviously. But I believe it's going to replace evaporation over here, evaporation over here. whatever's going on over there. And it's not actually... Okay. Any second now, it's going to pop over. Boom. And now look at it go. Now it's got some place that can flow. And now this area is all going to start slowly receding as it loses pressure. Apparently, there's a little bit of a wave disruption over here. I should have put flow valves or whatever the hell they're called again. Yeah, throttling valves here instead of fill valves. Because then I could have controlled how fast it can flow through there. And maybe reduced that wave actions when it shuts on and off. Okay, this reservoir is still full. This isn't really a reservoir per se, but it does work for filling this area. I thought this could pull out of the... Guess not really. I could... If I remove this wall here, then I could tie this to that shaft. And this upper reservoir could pressurize both sides, which would have benefits. It would mean I could leave these fill valves permanently shut. Okay. Is this still oscillating? It definitely shouldn't be. But if not, what was flooding buildings? Whatever, it's not doing it now. We need to get some bots going. Okay, this is almost done. Put some dynamite right there so we can blow that open and get to their lower area. It'd be ideal to break this open during a drought. Not sure if I'm that patient, though. Where was flooding? It's got to be over here still. Yeah, this is still... Let's pull that back down some, so when it opens to let pressurized water out, I've got to break this open and replace these fill valves with throttling valves. Because they let out too much water. But if I open it now, then this reservoir is going to drain, so we got to wait till at minimum of a good season. This is doing the same damn thing. Stop letting out big bursts of pressurized water. Okay, we got to put fill valves in there. It's wasting so much water. Or not fill valves, whatever. Throttling valves. Anywhere where we're getting directly out of pressurized areas, directly into an open area, should probably be a throttling valve. And then we can set how vigorous it should be allowed to pop. These, I don't think matter because we're letting out of a pressurized area into an almost as pressurized area that happens to be open-topped. So I don't think it matters if I replace those. But these, where we're releasing into a shallow pond, that seems to matter a lot. I can set this lower. So that I'll have an emptier pond to pop into. Yeah. Anyway. .7 days in the bad tide. Let's go ahead. Yeah, screw it. We'll get some beavers exposed to bad water by doing that, but they'll recover. Is the learning curve too steep? No. This game's pretty easy to learn. It does have some mechanics that most city builders wouldn't. There's a much stronger focus on engineering. It's really easy to keep your beavers fairly happy and alive. You just have to provide enough food. Provide food, provide water, and your beavers won't die. If they do start dying, usually a bunch of them die off, and then they'll just, particularly if you're using folktales, they'll build their population right back up as soon as you solve whatever problem was causing them to die off. So, like, particularly if you choose the harder maps or harder difficulties, it can be, you have to know what you're doing to get food and water going fast enough in sufficient quantities. But after that, most of the fun of the game comes from engineering. At least for me. Building dams. And yeah, it does have a decent tutorial. The easier maps tend to have relatively easy ways to put in basic dams to hold back enough water to get you through your first droughts or 3. And then, of course, reasonable possibilities for building reservoirs, and from there you can just kind of experiment your way to victory. Play around with the different water management tools, and next thing you know, you'll have a giant reservoir somewhere. I feel like a lot compared to most builders that there's a really nice cyclic pattern of crisis and crisis recovery. Instead of random events, you know there's something going to happen at the end of each cycle. Yep. You know there's a bad thing coming. You know approximately what kind of bad thing it's going to be. Like, there's really only 2. Either the water stops or the water turns nasty. So you just got to figure out ways to handle both cases and be ready for them to happen periodically. And particularly early on, the bad events are usually very short. So they just give you a little tiny taste of what's going to happen. And then you have a while of good times again. But this time you know what's coming up ahead, so you can prepare. And so you prepare, and the next time the bad thing's a little bit longer. And so you can see if your preparations worked. And repeat to taste. I wish there were more city builders like this that had a solid focus on building cool structures. Like Dwarf Fortress, you can build fun magma works and stuff. Sure. That's fun. Engage in dwarven engineering. But I'm going to set that to just high priority. There was never enough of that for my tastes. All right. Yeah, anybody... Actually, that is kind of an interesting point, I suppose. Anybody who liked playing Dwarf Fortress for the building, this game is a much stronger focus on the building, and it's also much... I wouldn't say easier, because Dwarf Fortress is really easy once you get past the inscrutability of it. But it's much less, well, inscrutable. Is there a feature where you can toggle between same buildings? I don't think so. I don't think so. There might be, but if there is, I don't know of it. You can see a list of all... Oh, that is probably true. Here's a list of all powered buildings, well, how much they're consuming. List of all the housing. You can zoom to them. List of all the workplaces, sorted by type. And what they're doing. I don't use this menu nearly enough, by the way. There's a whole load of just information here about just about everything you can imagine. All the storage buildings, and how much they're storing and what their settings are. You can change the settings right from here. Go straight to all the well-being buildings, what their visitor counts have looked like over the last several days. I mean, this is information you can see just by clicking on the building, which is usually what I do. But you can also come here and see it all. You can see how far away it is from the district center, which the way my settlement is set up is not terribly useful, but might matter in a more sanely designed one. All your districts, their population counts, what you want them set to, because you can move population back and forth between districts either manually or automatically. Imports and exports. Tons of information in that menu. I don't use this menu much because I don't know, I just don't. It's super helpful though when you remember it exists. Main thing you dislike is the district management. Found the only want to play if you can stay with a single district. Yeah, multiple districts can be annoying. I don't mind them too much. But having lots of materials moving back and forth between districts tends to be annoying. The more you can produce within a given district, the better. And then you can kind of treat them like separate colonies that just happen to share a few goods. Are currently mid-game or late game? I guess it would depend on how you define those. We're to the point where pretty much all of the major problems are solved. And from here, I'm just kind of slowly growing things progressively more larger, bigger, cooler, just because I can, not because I have any real goals in mind. We're definitely solidly out of the early game, because we're no longer really struggling with any serious problems. At this point, I could pretty much just get up and walk away from my computer and let it run overnight and come back and find my beavers would probably be alive and perfectly fine. I suppose I might define it as mid to late. Definitely not early mid-game anymore. Yeah, I want this to be closed as soon as it's finished. And this will drain a ton of bad water from everything. Okay. Yeah. One thing that can really help keep things under control is as soon as you have a guaranteed safe source of water. So, let's say this water seep. It's not a very good source of water, but it is a source of water. I early on had it so I was filling this valley with water, so I had this whole valley as a reservoir. And I had automated setup over here that would open these gates during a bad tide and let the water flow out that direction. And seal this up so the reservoir would stay full. So I had a guaranteed source of water. Didn't matter if a drought or a bad tide happened, I had water in the reservoir, I could just let it out a little bit at a time to keep this full of water. The whole colony was gathered around this little bit of bowl of water down here. At that point, my beavers were good as long as I had enough food for them. The only way I could really screw things up from there would be as if I raised my population too much without raising my food as well. Which admittedly, I did. We did have at least one major beaver die off because we ran out of food during a drought. But we didn't lose all the beavers, so everybody came back perfectly happily afterwards, and we didn't talk about that incident. From there, as long as you keep your population under control, the number one thing you can do is overbuild your food. And once you have way more food than you could ever possibly use, then you can increase your population a little bit and start increasing your industry alongside your population. Okay. This is almost done. A few more gears and we'll have that bad water turned off. I still have injured beavers wandering around. They must have got injured in the factories here. What is the injury chance at these factories? I don't think it tells me in that menu. Doesn't tell me here either. Oh, I know it tells me somewhere. Oh, here we go. Low chance of injury. So this doesn't say there's a chance of injury, which means there isn't. Okay. It's probably just that we more than doubled our sawmill production. Or it could be the centrifuge just has a high chance of injury. In any case, only 3 injured beavers, not that big of a deal. Yeah. You can never have enough storage built for food and water. As long as you have plenty of those two things, nothing too bad can go wrong. That and these small warehouses, small tanks, small industrial piles, they're terrible. Small tank only holds 30 water. The medium tank costs a lot more, but also it holds 300. Getting medium tanks of water fairly as soon as you can reasonably afford them is just insane for helping to survive droughts and stuff. You don't even need very many of them, really. Because each one is... Oh, this just is drying up. Hell yeah, no more bad water over here. That means this whole network here is going to dry up, I think. I don't think this is connected to anything else. Actually, this is getting filled in by bad water running down from there. So that won't dry up completely. But that cut off a huge amount of our bad water supply to this map. Okay. Well, with that being fixed, we just have this one to go yet, which is going to be a little bit more involved in some ways. We probably shouldn't do this right away. We should let our resources build back up so we have a full storage of gears and stuff. But anyway. How's our tunnel going? Almost done. Cool. I am going to set it to looking at the tunnel. And let's save our game. Because it is 10:39. And that is time to wrap things up. Tomorrow is Wednesday already. And I do believe there will be more beavers tomorrow. We'll continue with working on our little colony. See if we can get the other bad water source capped off. Yeah. I'm not sure how much more I want to play this colony. It's fun, but I tend to enjoy the early game more. The part where you're still struggling to not get everyone dead from lack of water, and when your reservoir still sucks, and when bad tides are still an actual threat instead of just a minor annoyance. When you don't have infinite food from your factories. So we'll probably play at least a few more days on this particular map. And then it'll be time for the next colony. And the next colony is going to be interesting. Because I have found a map that we are going to use. We're going to try to play the Timberpunk 2 map. Which I don't know how many of you have heard of it. But you start the map without a water source. There's an ancient aquifer drill and a little bit of water in some nearby storage towers. And you got to get that ancient aquifer drill up and running so you don't immediately die and so you get some farms going. And then to add insult to injury, there's an explosive on that ancient ancient aquifer drill that will blow it up in like 50 days from the start of the game. So you've got 50 days to get your own aquifer drills researched and built before everyone dies if you don't. And once that problem's surmounted, there's all sorts of other ticking time bombs. We had several ticking time bombs on this map in the form of various explosives that opened up bad water sources to our main water area. Yeah, that's just the start of the things that happen on Timberpunk too, from what I've heard. So things are going to get interesting. But probably not for at least another week, maybe 2. Thursday, there'll be some Zoo Tycoon 1. That should be a good bit of fun. I quite want to see if we can get all the secret animals unlocked. Don't know if we'll get there or not. Definitely not getting there in one day, though. Friday, of course, will be more EDF. Last time we get raced through a whole ton of missions. We probably won't get quite that many done this time because things are starting to ramp up in difficulty. Getting out of the easy early missions and into the slightly harder mid-game missions. And then, of course, Saturday and Sunday. Probably Valheim both days. Definitely Valheim one of the days. And if we don't do Valheim both days, there's a small chance that I might decide it's time to do Beaver on the weekends. But we'll see. Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. We're pretty close to the end of what I want to do in Valheim. And I haven't quite decided exactly how I'm going to rearrange the schedule once we finish it. But anyway. For tonight, though, let's see. Is anyone on the old follow list doing anything tonight? It looks like Noms is playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Sure. Let's raid Noms. I like Noms. He's cool. Let's go watch him play one of the bad Assassin's Creeds. Oh. I don't know what Ubisoft was thinking when they decided Assassin's Creed needed RPG mechanics. I think they were thinking that they would make lots of money that way. But, oh well. Hopefully I see you all back here tomorrow for more Beaver shenaniganry. And I will see you all later. Good night. And goodbye.